I am Nadine Baladi. I work at ILSC Education Group. I'm the Senior Director for Pathways to Higher Education. And we are here today with our most excited partners, or we are most excited to be partnering with BCIT. And so let's get right into it. So if we could go to the next slide and introduce to you who our panel of speakers are today. I'm going to invite maybe the BCIT folks to introduce themselves first. Michael, do you want to take the floor?
Sure. Good morning, everyone, or good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you are. My name is Michael Galley. I'm the Director of International Recruitment and Admissions at the British Columbia Institute of Technology, and I'm very glad to be here today to talk about this long-awaited pathway that we have with ILSC. I really have to give a shout out to Sonia Fantozzi for working so hard to keep this going, and yeah, we're glad to be partnering with ILSC. So my function at in international is to direct all operations related to the recruitment and admissions. So we have 5 international admissions officers that take care of all of our international recruitment admissions. And so when you're dealing with BCIT, you're dealing directly with our international department. You're not going through our registrar's office. And I'll just leave it at that for now.
Great. How about Carolina?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you all, and I'm so glad to be here as well. I'm Carolina. I'm the International Recruitment and Social Media Specialist at BCIT. So if you have questions about Central America, Latin America, if you are from Latin America and Central America, and if you have any questions about the programs or BCIT, I'm going to be also glad to talk to you about it.
Vicky?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Vicky, and like Carolina, I'm also an international recruitment and social media specialist at BCIT. My area is mainly China East Asia area. So if you have students from the area, if they complete high school or post-secondary there, and they have questions about application to BCIT, just feel free to ask anytime. I'll be happy to help out.
Great, thank you. Let's skip over to Nikki.
Hi, I'm Nikki Lee. I'm the Regional Sales Director for Asia Market. We are very excited to have a partnership with BCIT, since BCIT is the most desirable institution for our international students. So we are so happy. Since I'm taking care of the Asia market, we do have a sales manager in the regional. So if you like to connect with anybody, I can leave my email address here, and then you can connect with me, and we will help you. Thank you.
And Marcia.
Hello, everyone. My name is Marcia Alves. I'm the Sales Director for Brazil, and I'm super excited for this opportunity as well.
Oh, we can't hear you all of a sudden, Marcia.
Yes. So if you have any questions, I will leave my email on.
All right, great. Well, we've got Marcia, and she'll leave her email here. She's in charge of the Brazilian market. And Sonia, last but not least, Sonia has been instrumental, like Michael said, in building this partnership. And you probably know Sonia already if you are on here. She is the national director of ILSC Education Group's Pathway Program. Sonia, do you want to introduce yourself and tell us why we are here today?
Perfect. Thank you, Nadine. Yes, my name is Sonia, and I'm the National Director for Pathways Canada. I'm based in Vancouver. And why are we here today? We're here to learn more about this exciting new partnership that we have with BCIT. And as everyone's alluded to, it's been a long journey in receiving this. So the excitement that I have, especially in seeing this from start to finish of this agreement, is really great in terms of seeing, what opportunities our students have. We have over 150 exciting programs at BCIT, and the team later will be talking about all those different programs. And our students also will have access to all the part-time and full-time availabilities that are available for students at BCIT. And we will have 3 direct entry points. So not just one, but 3 direct entry points specializing in the different program areas and their level requirements. And what we and our students really enjoy about BCIT is the hands-on learning they get, the intensity of the programming, and being ready to be in the workforce once they graduate. So with all of those exciting activities, we're excited to provide our students another option for a pathway partner, which is not far from our campuses.
And Sonia, obviously students could try to get into BCIT directly, but we have a pathway partnership with them. Can you explain how the pathway program at ILSC actually prepares students for their studies at BCIT? Why is that an important step?
That's a great question, because in terms of the pathway program itself, students are able to get into BCIT without having to prepare for a language proficiency test like IELTS or TOEFL. So they're not having to stress about the testing. And in addition to that, they're not just gaining the language skills, they're learning skills that would be useful in the college setting. In terms of note-taking skills, academic discussion, academic writing. So they're getting a holistic approach to their learning, which will help them become successful once they reach BCIT.
Great. And I think, obviously we know that's really helpful for students. We actually have data showing that ILSC students, in fact, fare better in our partner schools than students who might study at different language schools or who might try to enter directly by just studying for a TOEFL or an IELTS test. So actually learning English in an immersive experience is a great one. Could you share a little bit, because there are other university pathway programs out there, some really great ones as well, but can you explain how ours is different from some of the other schools?
The way that our programs are different is this preparing students to be successful. And as you mentioned, Nadine, we are getting feedback year after year from our partners where our students are doing better than students who have gone directly with an IELTS or TOEFL because of the holistic approach that we take. We also provide students services before they arrive. So both to students and to agents before they arrive at ILSC, and while they're at ILSC, we're monitoring their progression and taking a look at how they're doing and making sure that they're successful. And we've been tracking our progression as well, and over 70% of our students complete a level within 4 weeks. And even during 2020, when the pandemic was full on, we had 93% of our students transfer to a pathway partner. So considering the stress that everyone was under last year, those are great numbers.
Great, and so there's a lot of support there. Some of it is pre-arrival.
That's right. So I mentioned about our services that we provide our students. We'll provide agents and students pathway options. So if you're coming to us saying, okay, I have a student who's interested in psychology, postgraduate or master's options, we'll track those options down so that you can get that information. Or, you're looking at aerospace technology, and we'll track that information down as well. We'll help each and every student that is a pathway student with their partner application form. So we'll support the BCIT application process from start to beginning without additional costs. And then if there are students that are needing high school credits as they're not meeting entry requirements to certain programs at BCIT, we'll also have that ability to offer those courses to students on the Vancouver or Toronto campus or online prior to arriving to ILSC to fill those additional requirements for their program. We assess students ahead of time, so our assessment is pretty accurate. Once students begin at ILSC, they're not tested again. They'll be placed based on that initial assessment that we've taken, and there's extra support systems as well that we have in place for students and agents.
Right, and so just to be clear, and maybe Marcia, Nikki, or Sonia, feel free to jump in here, but if a student is interested in going to BCIT, they know they need a bit of English, they will apply to ILSC first and share their interest about BCIT. And in fact, it is our advisors who will support the students from start to finish with their ILSC portion of studies, but also their BCIT application. Is that right? And if so, I wonder, Nikki, Marcia, if you have examples of that happening, or if that's helpful, if you could share anything about your markets and the popularity maybe of BCIT.
Yeah, so thanks so much, Nadine. That's a great question. So what happened is a lot of the students, we participate in events, like not recently because of COVID, but in the past, all the events that we participate in Brazil, in the market, main issue for the students is the language part, because they don't speak English. So we support the students during that transition so that they can learn the language in order to be able to be accepted to institutions such as BCIT. And BCIT, because of the hands-on approach, it's very much appealing for the Brazilian market. I think the students will really, this partnership, it's gonna be really enhancing our portfolio, because it's already a popular program, but the students need the English portion. So with our support, they will be able to navigate and reach the level necessary to be accepted at BCIT and then start their journey at BCIT. So that's my feedback in general.
Great, thanks. Thanks. And so maybe we can jump into the support students get, of course, after their arrival, they are with us.
And perfect. So once a student starts with ILSC, the support doesn't stop. We will continue to help students with partner application forms to BCIT if they decide once they're on campus, instead of having decided prior to arriving. If a student at that point is also realizing that their high school transcripts, etc., don't meet the qualifications for BCIT, we can get those high school credits for them through our ILSC High School. Students who join the pathway team, pathway program on their very first day receive a specialized university pathway program orientation once they arrive, so they can meet the team, know who they can contact if they have any questions, as well as be able to ask any questions right at the beginning. We will monitor their attendance and their academic progress, as I mentioned earlier, to make sure that we're proactive and ensuring that they're starting off on the right foot and figuring out if students do have challenges when it comes to academic progress, what those challenges are, providing support. If a student has attendance issues, following up with them to try and find out why they're not attending and see if there's any way that we can support them as well. Students also have access to one-on-one academic student advising with our Director of Studies and the academic team. So there is a dedicated academic staff at each campus, and there's other support systems that we have for students and agents. But for students specifically, we invite our partners on campus to do info sessions so they can meet the partner on campus and ask those questions directly. So having BCIT come onto campus, meet the students can ask them about their programs that they're interested in and get direct answers to questions straight from Michael or Carolina or Vicky themselves.
Great. And I mean, obviously there's a lot of support here in case the student needs it. Not all students need it. Like you mentioned, 73% of students complete in 4 weeks. Can you talk about the progression processes? How do students actually move through levels?
So I'm going to skip a slide and come back to this one. How a student progresses in the pathway program. As everyone knows, ILSC has 10 levels. So a student can join the pathway program at any level. They can be a beginner 1 student and join. It's actually easier if a student joins their very first day in the pathway program, but because it allows the pathway team to kick in those support systems for the pathway students on their first day, instead of, for example, saying, okay, this student's going to do 4 sessions of general English and then transfer into Pathways, we can begin that follow-up with the students and meeting the students very earlier on, and that connection between the student and the Pathway team helps in their progression. So how a student goes from level to level. Throughout a session, a student is evaluated on a variety of different assignments, quizzes. There are final assessments that are done. So in terms of whether a student can progress to the next level or not would depend on how they've done on each and every assignment, as well as their daily work and the final assessment at the end of the session. At the end of that session, if a student progresses after 4 weeks, they move on to the next level. If the teacher determines that the student requires a little bit more time, then they remain at that level until they're ready to move up. So a student can progress as fast as 4 weeks per level and continue. So if a student is going from beginner 1 all the way to advanced 2 levels, they would need 10 sessions to go through that. And so with BCIT, because we have 3 different entry points, when they start and when they're finishing at ILSC would depend on the program that they're doing. And that takes us into what the pathway agreement levels are for BCIT. So programs similar, programs that require a 7.0 IELTS equivalent or English 12, 73% at BCIT. Programs such as engineering would require completion of the advanced 2 level at ILSC. Other programs such as the business programs at BCIT that require the English 12, 67% or a 6.5 IELTS require the completion of ILSC's advanced 1. And then other trades related programs that require English 12, 50% completion of or 6.0 IELTS would require the completion of intermediate 4. And these are for direct entry. No other English requirements are necessary. Of course, students have to fulfill the program requirements that are set out by BCIT outside of English.
And Sonia, can you just, or maybe someone at BCIT can just share to know which program I'm applying to, for example, and which level I will need to get into that program. Like, will you talk about that, where I could find that list to make sure I could get into exactly what I want to get to as quickly as I can?
Hi, Nadine. I'll speak to that. I think every program may have a slightly different entrance requirement. So when you visit any of the program pages, on the left side menu, you'll see a program entrance or program entry link, and that will stipulate, if you click on that, you can see what the entrance requirements are. Typically, all of the business programs will require the ILSC Advanced 1, so an IELTS 6.5. Some of the more competitive programs like civil engineering, possibly some of the healthcare programs, would require a 7, an IELTS 7 or higher. Now, if it's a competitive program, of course, the minimum requirement may show 6.5 IELTS, but it's important to realize that the students are competing against other international students. They're not competing against Canadian students, just the other internationals. But if the other international students have higher levels of English and math, they would be selected before the students with the lower grades.
Okay, great to know. Thank you for that. So do you want to talk about the progression quickly, and then we'll jump into right back in with Michael and the team about BCIT?
Perfect. That's where I was heading. So at ILSC, we've also recently added a university pathway progression guarantee. So here is where we're helping students to achieve their academic success, and it's a team. So the university pathway team will work closely with students and the teachers to make sure that they're successful. So earlier I mentioned that each pathway student will receive an orientation that's specific to pathways on their first day, but also within the first week, towards the end, they'll have a specialized group meeting with the pathway team to take a look at our progression, the services that we have to support them, who they can reach out to, and talk about the weekly check-ins that we do. So the Pathway team will check in weekly with the students to see if they're having any challenges, are there weaknesses that they're seeing in their classes or in their skills. If a student after their first 4 weeks does remain in a level, then we will institute an individualized learning plan that would begin the following session right at the start. So we'll have an instructor meet with the student to put together this individualized learning plan, to take a look at steps that they need to work on during that next session to be successful. And there's follow-up in the next couple of weeks as well that happens between the instructors, the students, the Pathway team, and the student. And there are other free workshops that also are being incorporated into this, where students can join and they're free.
Great, perfect, thank you. So if anyone has questions about ILSC pathways and how it all works and everything we've put in here, please put them either in the chat box or in the Q&A, and we will get to those. We've got time for it at the end of this. But really the stars of the show here, BCIT, let's give you the floor.
Michael?
Michael, you are muted.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll start off with the a very short video for you, give you an overview.
The world has always moved in unexpected ways. It's constantly shifting and evolving. You can try waiting for it to stop, or you can jump in and start.
I think we have a lag.
Yeah, buffering issue maybe.
Yeah. Okay.
Sonia, are you able to advance it? Advance the video?
Okay. Well, bandwidth is always a problem when we have so many people on a Zoom call like this. But anyway, if you would like to see the rest of that video, you can see it on our BCIT YouTube station. Okay, so very important to understand about BCIT is it's an applied education model, and it's all about learning beyond textbooks. We'll advance. Very brief agenda here. We'll give you some fast facts about BCIT, tell you why we have a very unique education model that focuses on postgraduate employment. So we're not a research university. We're all about training people for the jobs of today and tomorrow. We'll talk about the graduate employment rates, a little bit of information about our schools and programs, and then we'll allow some time for Q&A. So fast facts about BCIT. Well, first of all, what everybody needs to know is that it is very intensive study. A typical 2-year diploma at BCIT is about 120 credits. And if you understand the Canadian credit system, 120 credits is like a 4-year bachelor degree in most universities. But we condense that into a 2-year diploma. And we don't give away the credits. The students have to earn them. So 1 credit is equal to 15 classroom hours of instruction. So typically a 3-credit course would be a 45-hour course delivered 3 hours a week over 15 weeks. So if you multiply that and you're doing 30 credits per term, that means you're studying 30 hours in class, and then you have 30 hours of homework. It's not for the faint of heart. BCIT is for students who really know what they want to do and they want to get to it faster. In the first 2 years of study, there are no general education courses. Every single course, every credit is related to the subject. So if you want to be an aircraft maintenance engineer, a computer programmer, an accountant, a business operations manager, a food technology technician, you will study for 2 years intensively, and you will be completely prepared for your first job in that field. Next slide, please. So we were founded in 1964, and annually we have between 48 and 50,000 students at BCIT. So that makes us one of Canada's largest post-secondaries. Pre-COVID, we had over 6,500 international students, and we have a very diverse student body. They were coming from over 116 countries. During COVID, that number went down to about 100. And our overall number was about 5,500. So, you know, the numbers went down like everywhere else because people weren't traveling or able to travel. But I expect those numbers to go back up and probably be at pre-COVID levels by 2023, if not 2022. Already this year, we're off to a very strong start. And I expect that our numbers will be right back up to what they were pre-COVID. Yeah, the final note there is that we have graduated over 200,000 BCIT alumni, and they're all very successful in their careers, I'd say. Now, we have 5 campuses. The Marine campus is on the North Shore, and we don't really get international students there because you have to be a permanent resident or landed immigrant to work on coastal waters. It's a government regulation. But we do have 5 campuses, and at the Annacis Island campus, which is only about a 20-minute drive from the Burnaby campus, they're all located in the Lower Mainland. But at the Annacis Island campus, we have a new program for a heavy-duty truck technician. It's an incredible program for those students who want to work on big diesel trucks and tractors, bulldozers, backhoes, again, as well as the transport trucks. Very exciting program. It's a 2-year diploma. Students are coming out of that program earning $70,000 to $80,000 in the first year. Within a few years, they're up to $100,000. They probably top out at about a salary of about $200,000. Very high-paying jobs. You get dirty. You get your hands dirty, but you know, university and post-secondary is not just about theoretical learning. Now, most of our programs are offered at the Burnaby campus. And Burnaby, if you don't know Vancouver, Burnaby is just a suburb of Vancouver. So it's about 25 minutes from downtown Vancouver. But it is more residential, and there's lots of homestays and residents around the Burnaby campus. And Burnaby campus is where we have all of our engineering, business, health. We have a brand new health science building. Yeah, it's a large, very, very large campus. The downtown campus is right in the heart of our downtown core, and that's where we have our technology hub. Most of our computing programs, some are in Burnaby, but most of them are at the downtown campus. And of course, our aerospace technology campus is right next door to the Vancouver International Airport, and it's an outstanding facility. It's like a mid-sized airport. Our hangar has a 737 jet, as well as a Bombardier CJ-1000, a Sikorsky helicopter, and about 25 to 30 other helicopters and airplanes. And this campus really allows us to demonstrate the hands-on model best, because you have the classrooms where the students are for 3 hours in the morning, and then you have the workshops and the hangar where the students are working for 3 hours in the afternoon. So it's a 50-50 split, theory and practice, and students get a very hands-on experience. Next slide, please. Now, we're different from a college or university. Again, first and foremost, our model is 50-50 theory and practice. Our class sizes are small. If you're talking aircraft maintenance, it's 16, computing 25, and business 28. Those are the largest you'll see, largest classes you'll see, which is great for the students because they get lots of one-on-one time with the instructors. And who are the instructors? Well, they're not researchers. You don't come to teach at BCIT if you are a researcher. All of our instructors have worked in their industry, and then they come to teach at BCIT. Some have 5 years, 10 years, 20. There are some teachers with 30 years of experience in their industry. Why do they come to BCIT? I think when you've worked in an industry for so long, and if you've done well, maybe you're not ready to retire, you still want to be involved and you want to give back to the industry. And that's what I've heard most of the instructors tell me why they came to teach at BCIT, because realistically, they can earn more working in their field than teaching at BCIT. Not that we don't pay well, but these industries that our instructors and our students go into are very high paying. So again, industry experienced instructors, very important, but also are the program advisory committees. Now, every program at BCIT has an advisory committee that is made up of leaders from that industry. And I think we have an example of that in the next slide. No, we don't. Okay, we must have taken it out to shorten the PowerPoint. But essentially, the program advisory committees will be 8, 10, 20 people from different companies around Vancouver. And they could be vice presidents, directors, managers, consulting scientists, all kinds of different positions. They come to meet with our faculty in that program. And again, every program has a different advisory committee, but they meet twice a year just to make sure that our faculty are staying in touch with the needs of industry. And the needs of industry change all the time. So from year to year, they may need people with different skills, different knowledge. And the best way for BCIT to keep in touch with what the needs of industry are is to bring industry into our curriculum process. So again, we get the advice from the program advisory committees. We modify and maintain our curriculum based on that. And so when a student graduates, they have the skills that industry wants. And we are sure of that because industry has told us what they want. So it's a great model. It works extremely well. And again, one of the reasons why our postgraduate employment rates are so high. So if you graduate with a 2-year diploma from BCIT, 91% of our students will find a job within the first several months of graduating. If you graduate with a bachelor degree, that number goes up to 98%. So almost everybody gets a job. I don't know what happens to that 2%, but 98% is pretty high. Why are the diplomas lower? I'll tell you the reason I believe is some of the students don't go look for a job. They finish the diploma and then they go directly into our bachelor degrees. So the number of students who are graduating from the diploma and getting jobs will look lower, but it's only because they're not all looking for a job. Some are going directly in and doing the 4 years straight. And I think that this is one of the best things about BCIT. You have options. You don't have to lock in for a 4-year degree. You can do 2 years and then make your decision to stay and do 2 more and finish a degree, or go directly out and get a job. It's great to have that choice. And students may think they want to do 4 years straight, but after 2 years of intensive study at BCIT, they're ready to work. And it's great for them because they can start earning, they can start earning a good income right away. And they should, because they've done a 2-year diploma, they should be getting the 3-year postgraduate work permit. Let's move to the next one, please. So to go back over the education model, and I'll just get you to click quickly on this. We are industry-driven, not research-driven. We provide applied education, which is practical. Sorry, I'm picking up some feedback on somebody's. Can everyone mute their, thank you. We provide applied education, and that means that the students are developing skills that are work integrated. Everything we do has to do with the skills they need for their future jobs. And that's why when they graduate, they are career ready, because they've been working on real life work tasks throughout their program at BCIT. So they don't need on-the-job training when they start their first job. BCIT was the training. And that's why they can expect high employment outcomes, because they're in high demand by industry. And that's why industry continues to participate with us, because we're giving them exactly what they want. They want students with a certain skills and knowledge. And they're telling us, again, remember, through our advisory committees, they're telling us what they want. And that's exactly what we're providing to students. So it's a great model. It really works in terms of our students getting postgraduate employment. And that's why the world needs more of BCIT. Now, students can do a one-year certificate, a one-year advanced diploma. They're great, but I think the best value is in the two-year diploma with the two-year bachelor degree. Because again, after 2 years, they can get a 3-year postgraduate work permit, and they have the choice to go on and do the bachelor or go get a job. We also have a handful of master's degrees, and again, they are applied master's degrees. There are 6 schools at BCIT, the School of Business and Media, and that's the largest school. School of Computing and Academic Studies, very competitive. Construction and the Environment. School of Health Sciences, only a few programs there. School of Energy, mainly engineering programs, and transportation is automotive, heavy duty trucks, and aircraft, of course. Now, there are about 150 programs available to international students. There are 300 overall, but only 150 are available to international. And they're in the areas of business and media, computing, IT, engineering, health sciences, automotive, aviation, lots of different choices. In the School of Business, you'll see there's a number of finance-related programs, accounting, business management, business ops, finance, financial planning, general insurance, risk management, very popular. Human resource management is very competitive to get into. Global trade and transportation is great for international students. It's all about international trade. Marketing management, we have 4 options. And business information technology management is very popular. It's already full for September 2022. Again, the digital arts programs are also mainly all full at this point for next year, but they are great programs. If you have students who are interested, they have to apply early. So check the application start dates. And then we have a broadcast program where we do broadcast online journalism, television, video production, and then radio arts and entertainment. Great programs for people who want to go into those industries. In computing and academic studies, it's mainly computer information tech, computer systems tech, full stack web development. Those 3 diplomas graduate the students into the computer systems degrees. There are 2 options, as well as a forensic investigation, digital forensics, and cybersecurity. Those are the degrees. So green box diplomas, blue box degrees. Then in our School of Construction and the Environment, architecture, civil engineering, a few environmental programs, geomatics, mining. In the green box, you see the diplomas, blue box are the degrees, and again, at the bottom in the orange are the master's degrees. Then in the School of Energy, like I said, it's mainly engineering programs in chemical, environmental, electrical, industrial network. Cybersecurity is an exciting cybersecurity program, different from the forensic cybersecurity. This has more to do with the cybersecurity, the safety of large industrial facilities like nuclear reactors or large mining or manufacturing companies. Mechanical engineering, again, is a 2+2 year diploma plus 2-year degree. Mechatronics and robotics is a 2-year diploma that goes into the electrical engineering degree. And then telecommunication systems is a standalone program. In our School of Health, again, only 3 programs: biomedical engineering, food tech, occupational health and safety. They're quite competitive to get into these programs. And below you see the degrees that they transition into. And finally, in the School of Transportation, it's mainly aircraft maintenance, M-class, that's general maintenance. We have 4 classes dedicated to international students each year. So 1 in January, 2 in May, and 1 in October. So it's, if the student doesn't get in for one intake, they usually get into the next one. It's only a few months later. Aircraft maintenance engineering category E is avionics. That's all the electrical and telecommunication satellite systems in helicopters and airplanes. That we have, I think, 2 intakes per year, and we have a limited number of seats for international. And then airport operations is about the management of airports. And of course, there's the automotive service technician and operations program, 2-year diploma with a co-op. Actually, there's co-op and non-co-op. This year, we have reopened the part-time studies to agent referrals. And it's not where we had an issue with part-time studies in the past where there were no English requirements, and it was a little bit of a free-for-all, and at one point it just got unmanageable. So the Institute decided to put a cap on the number of seats that international students could take in part-time programs. And at that point, we had to stop commission payments for agents who are referring students. But now we've corrected those little flaws in the system, and we are able to provide a referral fee. We'll deal with it differently than a commission. It'll just be a flat rate for each student that is referred to the part-time programs. Now, these are credit programs. Anybody can register for just 1 or 2 courses in part-time studies, but we also have part-time programs, and that's what we're referring to here, because international students can study part-time and they can maintain the requirements of their study permit as long as they're studying a minimum of 9 credits. And so it's we will issue a different kind of letter to the student, and there isn't an application process, it's a program declaration. So it's a little bit different from applying for a regular program, but again, international students can register and declare these programs. It does allow them to work during the day because the courses are usually offered in the evening and on weekends. And the students must register for their own courses. So they decide if they're going to do 3 or 4 or 5 courses per semester. They choose the courses. However, the courses must be those that are within that particular program. Okay, so a program like accounting has, I think, 125 credits. It would take a long time to do that in a part-time program, but some students do, and they just stretch out their study for a long time. And again, it allows them to work during the day. I'm sure there's going to be a number of questions about part-time studies, but let's move on to the next one. Okay, and right to the Q&A. So thank you very much. I hope I've covered enough detail for you, and if there are questions, we'd be glad to respond to those.
Yeah, Michael, thank you so much. What a comprehensive, quick presentation, because we had to make it quick. But if anyone is on this, you've probably decided the 7 programs you want to apply to. I think the selection of programs is amazing at BCIT, and it really allows students, international or not, to kind of, just follow their true passion very specifically. I know I've already decided what I'm going back to school for here.
Me too.
So we do have a few questions already, but as we start answering those questions, I would invite everyone to type away, and feel free to let us know whether it's in the Q&A box or the chat box. Please type your question and we will get to it. We've got a few more minutes. So I'll start with a question that I think is for Sonia. It's more about the ILSC education group side of things. If someone is a student already at Greystone College, not in the ILSC pathway program, can they still come and talk to our student advisors in the pathway department so that they can apply possibly to go to BCIT?
And that is a definite yes. Of course, please stop on by at the Vancouver campus. It's at 555 Richard Street, and you'll need to see Lucas, who is the pathway manager on that campus. Come on by during break time, and he'll be able to help you with any questions you have about BCIT.
Great. Another question is, where could one find, this is for BCIT, where could one find a lot of information on the Masters of Building Science, aside from the web page? Is there more information about what that is exactly?
Not really. The BCIT program pages are the best place to go for information. However, We do have there are options for the students to speak to different people at BCIT. They can talk to us. We can talk generally about all of the programs at BCIT, but if they really want to get into detail, then they would make an appointment with the program area. And we can help them to set that up, or usually on the program pages, there is a link for contacting that department. And you either have an email address to just email, or there may be a form that they're asking you to complete and write your questions in. There's usually a phone number you could call. So lots of different ways to communicate directly with the program area. But if they need any assistance, then again, if they go through ILSC, ILSC will communicate with us in international, and we will make the handshake happen with the program area.
Great. Thank you so much. And then, we always get into these questions of post-graduation work permits. So someone would like to know if they would still be eligible for the post-graduation work permit, even if they study at BCIT part-time.
Yes, you can. And we know that because we have modeled the program in such a way that makes it possible. So we've had many discussions at the beginning. We had many discussions at the beginning with the IRCC to make sure that they understood our part-time model wasn't like continuing education. These are actual programs. So again, you have to study full-time equivalent, which is 9 credits. And that's usually 3 courses, but it could be 2 courses. One is 5 and one is 4 credits, depending on the program you're taking. But we will issue you a letter that confirms your enrollment in that program and that you are studying full-time. And like all other international students, we would report annually or biannually to the government on whether or not our students are studying full-time. And if you're a part-time program, as long as you're studying 9 credits, you are considered full-time. So you are eligible and you should have no problem receiving the PGWP.
Great. Okay, thank you so much. We have a question, I think, for Sonia or for Marcia, and this is a question from Brazil, just pinpointing how helpful it has been to do the pathways portion of the program online prior to arriving or traveling to Canada. So the question is that, it is a great option. Is that going to continue happening, this online option for the pathways program?
I can talk about it. So right now we do offer the option for the students to do the online program. Of course, as you all know, due to the pandemic, we implement the online possibility for the student to do, the pathway overseas and come ready. That's a great option. However, I must say this is temporary for now. So we are assessing the possibility of continue if you still have the demand. That's the reality.
Thanks. Yeah, and I think it's fair also to say that as we're all seeing, no one knows exactly what will happen with the pandemic, travels, borders, etc. There's a lot of flux. So we're really just trying to adapt to make education accessible for as many people as possible where they are, given this current situation. So for the time being, we have the program. You can register online, or of course, we also have all of our programs are delivered also in person on our campuses now. So whatever kind of works best given the country you are living in and the travel options that you have right now, access to vaccines, etc. Any other questions? Any questions from the ILSC team or the BCIT team?
No, thank you.
I'm not used to asking questions. I usually answer them.
So I have one for you, Michael, or really anyone on this. As if I were a student, I think I would be asking myself some of these very competitive programs that you mentioned, very exciting programs. I'd need to apply in advance to get into them to make sure I have a spot. So if I do that, then I go to ILSC to complete my English level, and you can confirm my spot in there. What can I do as an international student in the time that I've met the English level and that I get to start my program at BCIT?
You can take part-time courses.
Okay.
If there's a gap, there are several programs that students may want to, fill that time with. In some cases, there may be courses in your diploma that you've been accepted to that you could take in part-time studies. You wouldn't have to retake them, which would reduce your course load, and that's one benefit of it. Some students, of course, they choose to go home in the interim, but I just want to make sure, Nadine, when we're talking about this, those are students who have actually met the English requirement already, right? Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, because to apply to a program, and if it's a competitive program, they have up until the last day to apply, the last day, the deadline for applications. They can apply right up until that last day, and it doesn't matter whether you apply on the first day or the last day. As long as you meet all the requirements, your application will go to the department, and the faculty will select the students that they feel are best suited and have the most chance of succeeding in the program. So again, if it's a computing program, computer systems tech or computer information tech, the faculty will look at the students' math and English, and they usually base their decisions mainly on those two skills.
Great. Thank you. That's really helpful. I love the idea that they may be able to take a few independent courses that are part-time before their actual program begins. It's a great way to use that time if you don't go home.
And again, like I said, you can just register for random courses, but you wouldn't be able to extend your study permit with that. You would have to declare a part-time program, which is, it just means that you're going to be studying 9 credits, so probably 3 courses per term. But it does allow you to work. So, you can still work the 20 hours a week while you're studying.
Perfect. Excellent. I see Sonia is answering a question right now. So a link for part-time programs. I wonder actually, if someone from BCIT, could you drop the link to the part-time programs into the chat box? That would be helpful. And I also thought maybe you could drop the link to that awesome video that we didn't get a chance to watch into the chat box. I think everyone would enjoy that as well.
That's great. Vicky, Carolina, can one of you do one or the other, please?
Yeah. Vicky, I'm doing the part-time here. And I'm also going to put the link for the full-time programs as well, okay? So you can check the full-time and the part-time programs.
Great. Thank you so much.
That's great, Carolina. Thank you. Yeah, if you have any questions about the application process for the full-time programs or the program declaration for the part-time programs, of course, I would say start with the ILSC team, and if they need to liaise with us, then we will lend assistance as well.
We know where to find you.
Yes, you do. Once you've done it once, it's it's very easy, and you'll see how intuitive a process it is.
Great. Thank you so much. Well, we're going to wrap it up. But I really want to thank everyone that was on this panel and everyone who attended. Your questions were great, but really putting these slides together. And again, Sonia and Michael, a special thank you to the two of you. I know you've worked hard on making this partnership happen, so congratulations. And thank you to everyone else who supports really the teams in making this a success. So we are meeting again. In case you missed some info, you want some live information, we're meeting again in 5 hours, I believe. A similar group, we're going to share similar information. Feel free to join us again, or this is recorded. So we will send this to attendees here. Feel free to share it as well. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Nadine. Great
Thank
job
you.
moderating.
you.
Thank you, Sonia, and all of your team and my team as well.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Everyone.
Bye.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.